right, we're going to go right to your phone calls, and then coming up, I'm going to break down the latest economic news. Man crushed by road flattening truck on orders of Chinese officials. Drudge Report's linked to it. They gave it the headline, Man crushed by steamroller, because that's what it is. On orders of Chinese officials, they tried a Tiananmen Square thing, not wanting their farms to be taken by the globalists, so they just ran over them. We're going to be going over all of that. The Army's secret Cold War experiments on people in St. Louis, that's now been declassified. DARPA continues human experiments to create military super soldiers. Privacy expert, all protesters are routinely scanned and skimmed by drones. Yeah, they come visit your house. That's meant to intimidate you. For rent, your very own Agenda 21 shoebox apartment. That's being promoted by the globalist. French surgeon says half of rebels in Syria are Al-Qaeda terrorists. Man, the globalists think we're dumb. Telling us give our rights up because of Al-Qaeda when they publicly run them. But let's go to Jason in Tennessee, listening on 1470 WBCR, one of our oldest and greatest affiliates. Jason, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Just got three things to bring up to you, but first we might need a congressional meeting on that call last night on the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, we better just shut the whole country down, you know. So what if the economy's falling apart and the government runs Al-Qaeda and TSA setting up checkpoints, sticking their hands down our pants? What matters is NFL football. What are you not? Are you not manly or something, bud?
Apparently not. Not according to what's going on here of late. Three things I want to point out to you, and I'm jumping around a little, but maybe it is all tied in. Newsweek, September, the first week of September issue, first or second week, whole article on how our surgeons are killing us. If it were listed as a cause of death, killing people on operating tables would be the sixth leading cause of death in this country.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, actually, yeah. Just the surgeon going to have a 2-hour lunch while kidney surgery is going on, or scratching the inside of the heart when they're doing a surgery and killing you. That is arguably number 3, 4, 5, or 6. They debate the numbers, but if you add the bad drugs, the surgeries, the infections together, it's number 1. The hospital is the most dangerous place to go. It is a veritable death trap. Do you know who has the lowest life expectancy of any profession? Would you like me to tell you?
Go ahead and tell me, sir.
Psychiatrist, then MDs, then dentist, then psychologist, then gay men, then black men. After that, and of course, these numbers vary year to year, but you can look them up for yourself. That is the most dangerous thing to be. I mean, that's how unhealthy they are. But they're going to tell us how to live our lives.
Absolutely. Okay, yesterday, my local paper here in Maryville, Tennessee, the Maryville Daily Times, children's deaths require DCS review. The revelation that the Tennessee Department of Human Services has not been notified lawmakers of the deaths of or near deaths of children in their districts as required by law is an embarrassment, and it's been going on for 7 years. I'd say it's been a lot longer than that. Anyway, it goes on to say that 31 Tennessee children die in the first 6 months of 2012 while in state custody.
Yeah, I was about to say, they usually don't even say it in the article. They'll usually say CPS or DHS needs more money because kids are dying in the state. And then I'll see the article and type it in and find the real case, and it's always CPS killing them. You know, we played a clip we couldn't find. It was like 6, 7 years ago. It was in Arkansas, and in one town, 3 kids had died in a small town in CPS custody in 1 week. CPS had let their pit bulls eat 1 kid, and then 2 had drowned, okay? And they had the head CPS guy on there going, children will die. That's just the way it is. I mean, that's a quote. Children will die. Just the way it is. 7 times more likely from anywhere. Children get raped 7 times. This is just Department numbers. Look it up. 7 times more likely to be sexually abused in their care. 5 times physically. 5 times. Off the charts malnutrition. Listen, one summer I cleaned carpets. I appreciate your call, sir. Great points. One One summer. And it was the most money I ever made at that time. It was something like 20 bucks an hour. But you know why? Because you had to go in houses filled with dog crap and urine and fleas that had houses they're trying to sell that hadn't had anybody in them in a month. You open that door, fleas just hit your legs everywhere. I mean, you talk about many times I had to go vomit in the toilet. And I was the helper. I had to move the couches and stuff. In fact, I'm getting sick. I'm getting sick right there. In fact, I'm not going to flash back to that anymore. Let's just go back. But the worst part on top of that was I was like, what is this place? Was the foster houses. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to stop right there. 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 Evil is all around us. That's all I'm going to tell you. And now I know how to recognize them. It's always they're men with arms about an inch around with pot bellies. They always are bald. Nothing against bald men. I'll be bald in 4 or 5 years at this rate. Real soft with little giggly demon smiles. And they got your kids. And let me tell you, they're going to take good care of them. Government loves you. Just know that. I'm an extremist. Just trust the government. They're good people. That's why I start getting angry. Diane in New York. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex.
Hello. Welcome.
I need to tell you that when I moved, I talked to you like 2 weeks ago. I was born in Venezuela. And one thing that amazed me about the American people was how docile they are. If you tell them not to do something, they just obey. They don't think out of the box. And that's, to me, is the biggest problem that Americans have, that they're not able to think by themselves. They have to be told what to do. If they went to South America, at least to Caracas, and try to drive, they would go crazy because there are not stop signs anywhere, not signs of any kind. And if they are, nobody respects them. So they would die.
Well, I mean, the issue here is Americans are under hypnotic commands. Look. In every category, we have the highest rate of everything bad. Okay, we went from the best 50 years ago, roughly, to the worst. And it's scientific, ma'am. Everything we're under is coming to every other country. We are under attack. If you were going to set up a global corporate eugenics-based government meant to exterminate most of the population so you could rule the planet and truly conquer it, because I mean, when the Romans took over, they killed everybody in most cases. The Israelites did that. This is actually an old program. What would you do? You'd take over the richest, powerfulest country. You'd use it to project power while shutting it down as well. You understand? So yes, Americans are docile. We have the lowest IQ, not education, IQ. We're brain damaged. It's a fact. We've been under chemical attack. So of course we're docile, ma'am. I mean, we've been under absolute systematic attack. That's why I'm not mad at people anymore. I learned the clinical stuff of the zombie trance, the smile, the giggling, all of it, and it's just another victim. It's very sad. It's very sad, ma'am. You're in a nation of people under mind control to varying degrees. You're on a country on the way out. You're on a country designed for total destruction. Sorry, go ahead.
It's ridiculous.
No, I know. I got a guy who works for me who does a fabulous job from Venezuela. And he says Venezuelans would never put up with this. But then he doesn't know why they put up with Chavez. Well, that's because, he took over and made them dependent. So, it's the same thing. No, I hear you. Anything else?
No, it was just how amazed I am to see how docile and dumbed down are the American people. It's just incredible.
Well, the statistics show it, ma'am. Look, we were domesticated. I mean, they put chemical and biological weapons in our food and vaccines. I mean, most people you see are going to be dead in 10, 15 years. I mean, if you follow the statistics, the numbers of cancer and other diseases increasing, if this continues in 10, 15 years, folks, I've seen numbers of in 10 years, half the population will have cancer. I mean, they're killing us. Let's go ahead and talk to Peter in Washington. You're on the air.
Hello, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
I'd mentioned it yesterday when that other guy was on the phone. There is an interesting book that is a follow-up to what you said when you had that conversation with that eFood Direct guy. It was written in 1966. It's called Ill Fares the Land, the Famine Plan for America. And it began with the Agricultural Adjustment Act in 1933 under Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Secretary of State was Wallace, whom I think you knows about. In that agricultural department was the Ware Communist Cell. Alger Hiss came out of there. Harry Dexter White came out of there. What they did then was they talked about overproduction. That's the problem with America, whereas actually they were importing food even in the early 30s. And, of course, then they were, trying to
I'll tell you what, stay there. I am aware of what you're talking about, and it's on record that communist countries always seek to destroy the means of production so that the government can control it and social engineer with it using food as a weapon. Stay there, I'll come back to you. Absolutely. That's why they're pulling out all the stops to shut down small family farms and ranches. That's why they're pulling out all the stops to shut down organic food, because this is a takeover. Stay there, sir. We'll come right back to you. Sick of the globalists, eugenicists, control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPur. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPur, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPur is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPur. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. A planetary government run by mad scientists that controls society via fiat currency that they issue is playing God with our lives and testing things on us, and then using what works for themselves. They give us accelerated cancers and then practice keeping us alive with them. All different sorts of treatments. I mean, it's so unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, and it's so in our face. And I know I'm getting off on the medical tyranny a lot today. It's because that's what it's all about. Everything else is window dressing. Let's go back to the calls here. Let's talk to Peter in Washington. Peter, you were getting into the communist plan. They did it everywhere. Ukraine, they did it in China. They do it everywhere, where they come in, collectivize the farms. And here they did it by the subsidies, which, at first were, real good for farmers. But you can see what it's done over time. Beef prices are the highest they've ever been, but people are going bankrupt everywhere that actually grow cattle. That's what they call it, beef cattle, because they've designed it. Just like people with natural gas wells are getting almost no money, but the big companies are making tons of money. Everything has been gamed and rigged. Go ahead.
Yeah, this book, Ill Fares the Land, he mentions, by the way, organic farming, which he says is a good idea. This is 1966. And yes, he also is aware of the corporate problem, because he said the big problem is to get the farmers' stuff to market. And he's got various solutions for it. This is a book you probably can't find on the internet. If you'll put one of your people on the phone afterwards with an address, that I'm just going to send it to you guys, because I think you can do more good out of it than I can.
Well, certainly we'll look into it and see if the author is still alive. Did you want to make any other points about the communist connection you were getting into?
I'll just briefly, that continued on to the Kennedy administration, the Eisenhower administration, Ezra Taft Benson, the Mormon elder who was Secretary of Agriculture, fought that bureaucracy. But, you know, as he points out, he wasn't too successful because he called his book Crossfire. And then it went back again with Kennedy, and of course this book was written published in the middle of the Johnson administration with Secretary Freeman, and they were right back to it again. That's all. I just want to send it to you guys because I think you can do more good with it than I can.
Well, sir, we will put you on hold, and we will give you that address. In fact, I can give it to you right now. It's P.O. Box 19549, P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas, 78760. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas, 78760. And thank you so much, sir. I really do appreciate you calling us. You know, that's the problem with all this, is that everything the government does has a propaganda package of how it's good for you. But all of it in the final equation is designed to reduce you down to slavery. And if you look at what the bureaucracy and the government's doing, for anyone that studied basic history, it's what authoritarians do. It's totalitarian. And it's nasty. And you try to talk to the bureaucrats and people, so many of them really get off on it. You know, I'll be out in public with my children. I was off work most of yesterday, taking time off with my children. And I went to the park with my children. I went to a store with my children. And both places, I had people say, hey, what are you doing, playing hooky? And in one case, the guy meant it good-naturedly. But still, there's that instinct to ask people what they're doing with their kids, not in a government training camp. The first time, the guy was wearing a City of Austin hat at the park, and he said, what are you doing, playing hooky? And I said, yeah, they're not in a government training center where they inject them with vaccines full of cancer viruses. I do that now in line. You know, the government's murdering you, cancer viruses and the vaccines. That's how you should respond. And the guy goes, you know, I'm a listener. I wish I had parents like you when I was growing up.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
It is so wonderful to be alive on this planet and to see so much of reality clouded by the poisonous messages that are in TV and embedded in sports and on mainstream television. Whenever I'm on vacation, I tend to watch more television than when I'm at home, obviously. And it's just everything is laced with destructive messages. All of it. And it's simple. When you are damaged, when you are dumbed down, you're not in the globalist way establishing their world. And I want you to have access to life extension technologies. I want you to have access to the incredible technologies that have been developed to empower you. I want to see you empowered. I am confident to the point of not being threatened by others who are successful. And that's really the difference between someone like myself and the establishment. It is inviting. When I was crawling up my shelf from nowhere to reaching tens of millions conservatively a week, when I got attacked by other crabs in the bucket, it was inviting to join the establishment. But thank God I never did, because now that I know more, it is so uninviting. And I'll go back to your calls, but by that, let me just break this down here briefly. Have you ever caught a bunch of crabs, or crawdads for that matter, crayfish, and you get like 10 of them in a big bucket or an ice chest, and when one tries to get out, they run over and grab him and start pinching him. As long as he's not trying to climb out, they don't attack. And I noticed that trying to climb out of here, people attacked me a lot, including people that said they were patriots and anti-New World Order. Those people weren't didn't have a lot of success because their hearts weren't pure. None of us are perfect, but the heart is either pointed in the direction of good or bad. And people who want status, people who really are looking for worldly power, they are never that successful from the perspective of trying to do good, because someone who's into evil just really cannot do good in the final equation. It gets put through that filter and gets twisted. Even if your heart's turned towards good, a lot of it ends up being turned towards bad. And I don't want to preach anymore. It's just that my brain is always storming with information and things I want to talk about, and it's frustrating. It makes my head hurt. I don't even know why I got off into the crab in the bucket analogy. The issue is a lot of people get hurt. A lot of people get dominated. A lot of people get run over in life. And so they decide to be cold. They decide to be hard. They decide to do whatever it takes to find avenues that will give them temporal or physical manifestations of power to protect themselves. A lot of people join evil because they think they need its power to be strong. Others join it because they simply enjoy exercising it. Others join it by peer pressure. Some join it consciously because it is of their essence. Some people were born to be wicked. Some were born to be wild. Some were born to be good. Some were born to sacrifice for others. But some were born. And there's something to bloodlines. There's a lot of bloodlines that from which pure evil flows to serve darkness. And make no mistake, those of us that are alive on this planet now who see what's going on and who understand what's going on, we have a sacred duty, a predestined lot to resist darkness. And if you do not take that destiny in your hands, that's your free will. But that destiny is lying there for you. And it will take you to incredible places when you begin to fight corruption. Some of them good, some of them bad. And I don't just mean places physically, but places in your mind, places in your heart. Reality is all around you, is my message. And what you see coming out of the television is a distorted reality meant to hurt you. The New World Order wants to hurt you, and it wants to hurt your children. And I will tell minions of the system this. If you don't care about yourselves and you just want to die on a pile of brass, think about your children. Think about them, because what we're going to see in civilization and the changes that we're about to witness in the next 20 years are going to eclipse 1,000 times anything that science fiction dystopics could ever imagine. And the propaganda, the chemical, the biological, the psychotronic, the electronic, Berlin Wall of deception and delusion is going to be so great, people are going to think it's normal when half their block is dying. People are going to run to the dark side. They're going to run to the establishment even as the establishment destroys them. Many people will not wake up as things get worse. They are going to double down. And then when things get even still worse, double down again, and then double down again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, committed to their service of evil. committed to their service of lies, committed to their service, their sacrament. So you better pray God gives you strength. You are not going to find God in 95% of these churches, I will assure you. That's the first place the devil takes over. These churches have convinced you that you're evil, so you might as well give in to it. Instead of telling you the truth. These churches tell you to stand down because God's going to handle it, when the whole Bible says the opposite. These churches are run by lazy, soft, little control freaks who know they're evil. So don't ever fall prey to their Romans 13 deviltry. Let's go to your calls. I need to shut up. Tim in Kentucky, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. Man, that was a great rant. Love it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, brother. What's on your mind?
I'm a disabled veteran from Desert Storm, and I called in yesterday. By the way, the guests yesterday were awesome.
Mike Adams is just a very special person.
Oh, yeah. It's bothered me, the reporting about police targeting veterans, and so I went out for a couple hours last week and tried to get pulled over. I have disabled veteran plates. I tried to get pulled over, and I couldn't. So I wanted to let you know that at least in my neck of the woods, it's all good now, but I can't. But the whole thing bothers a lot of us that are veterans. I hadn't heard a lot about the Camp Liberty going back, or MEK getting Camp Liberty, and they're taking off the terrorist list, and they're going to target us. After all that all that they've injected in us and made us sick, they're going to target us as terrorists.
Well, yeah, that's why they injected you with all the experimental shots. Look, here's the issue. Selling evil is really hard to do. Selling the federalization, the internationalization, the twisting is a big deal. You're right that the average cop looks at training manuals saying returning veterans are the #1 terror threat, and it's waking them up. You're right that the average police officer is a good person. I've discovered that. It doesn't matter. Their bosses are now the same Justice Department that shipped guns into Mexico. So what I'm saying is we either take over our towns peacefully as bulwarks against the globalists, or they will be taken over against us. It's not like any towns or cities are going to be neutral. The entire Homeland Security architecture is built around taking over state legislatures and taking over cities and counties with the Army that don't go along with forced inoculation and stuff. So, yes, I mean, you've seen all these sheriffs and county commissioners and people and judges saying, we're preparing to fight the New World Order. That's the issue, is that people are starting to actually wake up. But the globalists are just going to keep pressing it through. And that's the thing that we face. And they're going to stage all sorts of crises and big events to try to stampede the locals into going along with this. And the churches are all teaching it's the end of the world, so don't get involved, so the globalists can take over. Instead of the 100-year reprieve of Nineveh, the story of Jonah. You see, they don't teach any of that. They just teach, hey, it's the end. Oh, praise God, all this evil's happening. Yeah, they're going to, make kids wear tracker chips. Well, that means the end of the world's coming. Praise the Lord, says the church lady. Instead of going out, I've got reporters right now in San Antonio about to cover a protest against them putting tracker chips on all the kids down there. And people should be there today for that. We should be out there actively resisting this. We've gotten in this position because when everybody goes to church, the preacher tells them, when the good guys go to church every Sunday, the guys that don't tell a lie and, don't do anything, wrong and love Jesus and grandma too, when they go to church, they're told, lay down and do whatever you're told. And so they're sitting there while evil takes over. We're supposed to occupy the land. And this is not a preaching show. It's just when we come down to this, it is a fight between good and evil. The problem is the church has been discredited because it was taken over by the 501c3 system, by the Rockefeller Foundation. And so we have to take over our towns and cities. That's why in the Army manuals, you saw the new Army manual. That's what you're alluding to. People can just type it in. Army training to fight Tea Party. They say they're preparing for the Tea Party to take over cities when they don't turn their guns in. Then the Army's going to have to come and put a perimeter around the city and start, have helicopters go in and take over the city council. And then if people keep resisting, they then have a cordon and they just start going house to house. I mean, that's what the Army trains for. We've got to get the word out ahead of scenarios they're going to trigger to try to sell this takeover. And we have to admit to ourselves we've really gotten to this point, and that when Obama gets kicked out of office, which may happen, don't think it's all just going to go away because we get rid of Obama. I saw a sign. In fact, I'll tweet it out at the end of this hour here in about 15 minutes. I saw a sign driving back from our family property in East Texas that said, "Save America, vote Republican." Go to twitter.com/RealAlexJones if you want to see it. I will tweet it out here when the show's over in about 15 minutes. And, those are well-meaning people. And on the surface, yeah, Republicans don't like abortion, don't like our sovereignty being destroyed, pro-family. Hey, sounds good. The problem is the globalists just have them there as a placeholder. So everybody thinks, oh, well, that's our choice to get us out of this, when by and large, they're just as bad as the Democrats. Anything else, sir?
Oh, I was just going to add that I expected to be pulled over in the city and expected to encounter exactly what you were saying. But I want to point out that the town I live in is the town where the 2 last terrorists were arrested last year and charged in federal court. So I expected high security here.
Oh, yeah, that's where they're saying the veterans were going to be terrorists. That's totally a shake and bake operation. No, I hear you, and I appreciate your call. Let's go ahead and instead of trying to get cops pull you over so you can talk to them, it's just better to go into their events, when they have charity events and stuff like that, and talk to them there. Go give them $20 for the disabled cop charity or whatever, or for the dead cop, family charities or whatever, and then talk to them there. Go talk to your police chief or sheriff. I mean, it's probably not best to try to get pulled over to talk to them, even though that's what I do now. I mean, look out! You're about to. Oh, you want to ask some questions? I'm here to talk to you. Let's go ahead and talk to Jones in North Carolina. Jones, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex Jones. This is Dr. Jones. I'm in North Carolina. Just want to add a few points, basically building on what a lot of the callers have said. It's easier to catch flies with sugar than vinegar. So like you said, go see people when they're in a space where they can hear you. So if it's police at a charity event, I was talking to people just at the grocery store, saw this woman, she's obese. She's going to buy some GMO food. She's going to buy some artificial sweeteners. I say, hey, you don't want that stuff because that's not healthy. And then she says, well, it's really for my son. My son has diabetes. And again, I know why her son has diabetes. It's vaccines. So then I'm preaching, then I'm talking to her, then I'm giving her advice like Dr. Sherry Tenpenny said to you.
And people are hungry. Let me guess. 4 or 5 people came up and started listening.
I was actually running out, but I got the woman's phone number. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, give some websites, give some nutritional advice, and say, hey, I don't want to charge anything for this, but why don't you just, tell some.
You are so incredible. I was just telling the guys, was I not 2 breaks ago telling you, I now walk through grocery stores. I don't wait. And I walk through and say, that aspartame is designed to kill you. Look up its manufacturing process. They're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. Every once in a while, a manager comes up and says, is there a problem? I'll go, yes, they're killing us. Have you heard about secret experimentation? Yeah. Well, you know what's going on now. Let me talk to you. You need to, lovingly as a human, we need to warn these people now. We need to get the word out now like our lives depend on it, because it does. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, again, going back what you said and Sherry Tenpenny said, we're going to have massive amounts of people with cancer and autism spectrum disorder or autism if we don't warn people and get them to avoid getting stuck into the allopathic medical tyranny system. So again, the other day I saw someone, a pregnant woman with her husband. I said, "Oh, you two having a baby?" And they said, "Yes, of course." And I said, "Well, you're not going to vaccinate your child, are you?" And they said, "We didn't vaccinate the last one. We're not going to start now." So but
listen, you got to go further, Doc. Then you got to say, but you got to warn others. You got to warn others. It's an emergency. They're killing people. We've got to save them. Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about 1.5 years ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of Youngevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfoWarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals, but the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com, sign up as a distributor, and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com. Listening to us in San Antonio or even in Austin, get in your car at 6 p.m. tonight. Remember Steve Hernandez and his family? They make them wear tracker chips around their necks. They track them on the school buses and outside school, just like school districts watch kids with cameras at home over the laptops. They've got the Department of Defense running AI computers that watch what the kids eat. And they also have a bunch of other different high-tech systems. It's going to be at the NSID Corp, 5900 Evers Road, San Antonio, Texas. And that's coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, at the protest at the place that makes the microchips. And they charge hundreds and thousands of dollars, something like $500,000 per school, for RFID that they use to track them everywhere. The Total Control, hope to see you there this evening. I'm going to have my reporters. Who's going? Jakari Jackson and who else? Okay, and Melissa Melton. Thank you. Okay, tonight on the nightly news, Aaron's doing the news portion, 7 o'clock Central. I am going to be interviewing the woman arrested in California for drawing YouTube Building 7, which shows the government blowing up Building 7. See, that could bring down the globalist. Because they said, get back, we're blowing it up. Told the cops that. We have the countdown. They blew it up, everything. 47-story building. I heard them on the news say they blew it up that day. That wasn't supposed to go out. So all over the country, they flip. So I am going to be announcing tonight First Amendment Week. And I'm going to go out this week, and I'm going to draw Google Building 7 all over the sidewalk everywhere. And I want people all over California especially to go to the store today, buy the chalk, and do your whole neighborhood. You think you're going to stop us, you murderers? You're going to get stopped, you killers. How many more kids are you going to inject today? We're going to get diabetes or brain cancer, you murdering slobs. I'm sick of you murdering filth. We're going to do whatever we want, First Amendment. Jam it down your throat. Think you're going to shut the internet down? We've already taught people how to do chalk on the sidewalk and banners everywhere. We're going to shove it down your throat, you murdering trash, you killers, you Al-Qaeda running filth. All right, excuse me. I try not to get angry, folks. I try to just be focused here, but it's hard. So sick of it. Trying to charge her with a felony for drawing with chalk. You scum. This government is pure evil. And the local news said the neighbor did a fabulous job calling police on her. My God, you think of all the slugs out there that serve this system. Something else you can do to fight the New World Order, ladies and gentlemen, is capitalize Infowars.com. Go to InfoWarsStore.com, buy the books, the videos, the ProPur water filters, 10% off discounted. Nobody's got it lower than that. The life straws, everything gets a free citizen rule book. All the books, the films, the T-shirts, all of it. All of it. InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsShop.com. And go get a PrisonPlanet.tv membership. You get 6 memberships for the price of one. You can share a username and passcode with 6 people simultaneously can be logged in. So that's $1 a month, $5.95 for a membership that's really $6. That's $1 a month, and that pays for the bandwidth and so much what we're doing. I want to thank all the members that are part of that as well. I'm going to do a little bit of overdrive so I can go to Bill in Kansas and a few others, and I try not to get mad, but you know what? It is a natural response. Finally, Ron Paul said 2 weeks ago, it's time to panic. He said, you should be panicking. I played the clip over QE Unlimited. And what that means. You get to pay in taxes for foreign banks to get trillions more. Yeah, we've got to get out of our comfort space, out of our trance, and go, whoa! Cancer in children's up over 10,000%. Look it up. They're killing us. We lead the world in breast cancer. It's up over 3,000% from 1960s numbers. Lung cancer in women's up 7-fold. It's viral. They're murdering us. They're murdering us.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
Bill in Kansas, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex, can you hear me?
Pretty good, sir.
Alex, I'm 23 years old. I dropped out of college 2 years ago to prepare for what's coming because I feel like I'm the only one in my generation who's actually awake. So I have a question for you and some important information to share. One, how are you reaching out to kids in my generation, college-age kids, high school-age kids, who they're the ones who are going to have to stand up to this. They're the ones who are going to have to make a change. And I feel like I'm the only one who's awake.
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess in your area, Kansas, I hear that a lot from Kansas, of all places, that no one's awake. I don't know if that's, I actually run into a lot of people that are awake from Kansas, but you're telling me people you talk to aren't. You ask what I'm doing, sir. I'm doing everything I can and also tearing myself apart, trying to do more, beating myself up for not doing enough, okay? And I've learned I just got to give it to God and do the maximum effort I can, okay? And just ask God to, guide my torpedoes I launch at the globalists and the info war. You need to print up fact sheets of basic facts. You need to start shooting a YouTube video trying to warn people about what's happening. You need to go in to the people, whether it's in college or high school, and talk to them, and you need to be the leader. So many people say, Alex, what are you doing to get to young people? Our demographics are incredible. I don't even track demographics, but we can look them up. We don't target certain groups, but we are absolutely waking up young people at amazing levels. And there's countless young people that I've supported over the years that have now done huge amounts of great work in their own right. So we're here as a platform trying to help others. But, here we are. So I hope that answers your question.
Question for you. How can someone young like me find some land to start living off of it and self-preserving myself?
Sure. So many people want to follow the instinct to try to get their own place, but if you don't have enough money or jobs to sustain it, they'll take it with property taxes, which they designed so you couldn't just go to the country and be self-sufficient. They've got actuaries to bankrupt you by design, where everybody I know living on a farm's got to have a job outside of it to support it. That's a higher level stage if you're able to move to the country. The best offense, to the globalist, the best defense is an offense. So you need to be trying to wake people up so the New World Order doesn't get to win, instead of everybody just running and getting ready. I've said it's good to get prepped. eFoodsDirect.com, all that, great people. But it's more important to get your soul ready, your mind ready, and to try to wake up others. That's the deciding factor. The globalists themselves say 90% of war is psychological. You have the truth, they have the lies. I appreciate your call. Let's jam in one more. Bob in Texas, you're on the air. Go.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
All right.
This is the first time I've listened to your program, and I'm kind of impressed by it. I like it. Appreciate it a lot. The reason I'm calling is hopefully I can brighten up your day. I've heard a lot that you've said about the New World Order, conspiracy theories, and the like. And I'm sure that you're familiar with what a mortgage pooling agreement is, as well as most of your listeners. But many people have not taken the time to read this dribble. I've read several of them, and in every case there is one sentence that seems to connect all of the dots between what happened in the early to mid-1920s leading up today, and it's just one single sentence. It's in almost every pooling and mortgage servicing agreement.
Read it.
Okay, it says, notwithstanding the foregoing, in no event shall the trust created hereby continue beyond the expiration of 21 years from the death of the last survivor of the descendants of Joseph P. Kennedy, the ambassador of the United States to the Court of St. James, living on the date hereof.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.